are interested in the metaverse, this video is a good one to watch.
Hi everyone, I am with Fabian. Thank you very much for your time. And he works at Microsoft. We're in one of their offices today. It was very nice of you to invite me here. I've driven past it a few times because I've got my client next door.
No worries.
So you are very passionate about the metaverse, and you're obviously in this type of business and have lots of experience. I thought you'd just be an ideal person to share with my followers some nuggets of information on the metaverse and why you should perhaps start researching it and getting involved. And I've got some questions for you here. So
no worries.
There's no rights or wrongs. So yeah, it's not a test. I do think that we should maybe start off with a little bit of a background about your career and what you do, so we've got some context.
Okay.
Any nuggets you want to share with my followers?
Yeah, I mean, I started out as embarking on a BCom with the intention of studying law way back in 93, 94. But then I discovered IT and could help people in the labs, and then the guy said, "Why don't you become an instructor?" And I thought, okay, let's try this. And then I've been in IT ever since. So I started 2 businesses while I was still at university. Actually, web development businesses. I created websites.
So we've actually got that in common because I've also dealt with law and web development.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I didn't know that.
So yeah, I've been a geek boy ever since. For as long as I can remember, I started with the Commodore 64, writing basic programs, and when I was stuck in my teens or something like that. So it became the natural progression of things going forward. And then in '96, the internet hit South Africa, and the only place you could get reliable connectivity was at universities, because they had the infrastructure, the budget, etc. Otherwise, you had dial-up, which took forever and a day, and the horrible sound that goes, that the neighbors could come over and say, "What the hell was that?" So
most people don't even know.
Yeah, the dial-up connection, 28.8K per second. So that's how far back I go, and so I've been a kind of a technologist ever since that day. I mean, I didn't finish my degree because I started 2 businesses and became very successful, and I probably made more than my dad made in a year in 1 month.
I totally support that. All these graduates at the moment, entrepreneurs are the solution for all of us.
I actually started working in a way which I couldn't quite classify until I read the book called The Buccaneer Scholar, and it actually summed up exactly how I learn, or my development. I learned very quickly, and I apply that knowledge immediately to achieve a desired outcome. So that's how I learn. Not really a formal method. If I need to know something now, I will go and learn it. I taught myself to build websites in PHP in 3 days, because I had a contract. The customer says, "Can you build this?" I had no idea how to build it, but I said, "Yes, I can." And then I went and learned how to do it.
It's the same attitude Richard Branson has. He says, make the sale and work out how to do it later.
And I now can build PHP websites today still, because I've applied that knowledge, and now the knowledge is retained. And that's how I actually learn and develop. And with concepts like blockchain, I just delve very deep. I spend 2 or 3 days just focusing on the tech, learning how this works, learning how that works, and then bringing it all together, applying it. And then, okay, now I can talk about it. I've lectured. I was a guest lecturer at UCT, the Graduate School of Business, the MCOM class around blockchain, Bitcoin. That was nice. The questions they asked were just, wow. I had to think. And then I said, I'll get back to you on that one. We did the research, learned the knowledge, went back and said, this is how it should be done. So that's pretty much my career sums up.
I know we're not here to talk about blockchain today, but I just wanted to quickly ask you, I think there's 18 supercomputers in the world at the moment, and I heard the other day that a supercomputer can actually break blockchain technology. It could work it out quickly. Is that a myth?
It's not a myth.
Oh gosh.
So a quantum computer has the computational power to actually crack the proof of work algorithm, which is the first consensus mechanism used by blockchain and Bitcoin subsequently. A lot of blockchains now don't use proof of work any longer. They use proof of delegated state or proof of stake, which a quantum computer can't crack, because it's not an algorithm that it needs to break.
Yes.
So that's why that's how they go around it.
Yeah.
So in theory, if you're using a proof of work consensus mechanism, Yes, it can.
Ah, it's fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
And okay, let's get into the questions. So, they were very specific. I mean, there's general questions. I'm not sticking with general questions.
Yeah,
I want to know some specific things from you. So the first one is, when do you think the metaverse will actually arrive? When do you think it will be something on an app store, or hey guys, I went to the metaverse today and I met someone?
It's been around for about 2 to 3 years already in some shape or form. If you played the game Second Life, you would basically represent yourself digitally as an avatar and basically walk around a virtual world, meeting friends and family, whatever, and being able to actually purchase items that can be delivered to your door. So in some shape or form, it's been around. Maybe not coined as the metaverse, but a virtual reality, mixed reality type setup. But I think it's becoming more commercialized at the moment because the larger companies like a Meta, like Facebook, as they were previously referred to as, Microsoft, AWS, Amazon, they're all looking at developing some kind of presence in the metaverse. At the recent Build conference that Microsoft has annually, Satya Nadella was quite bullish on the metaverse and how Microsoft will actually enter the metaverse. We're still going to work things out, but what the plan is to utilize the metaverse within Teams, or some kind of version of the metaverse within Teams. The biggest challenge there is presence. How do you simulate presence? When I'm sitting with you now one-on-one, there's a presence, I can actually sense that. How do you develop that type of presence in a virtual world where you feel like you're actually sitting with a colleague face to face? And that's going to be the challenge, because otherwise it just becomes another, I'm going to stick a headset on, which I hate wearing personally for myself. I'd rather wear these glasses that make it a lot easier to actually function around, because you can actually see, and also use it to actually potentially interact with the metaverse or some kind of world. For me, the metaverse is just a bunch of different virtual worlds that are being just grouped together, and we have to call it something, right? And the metaverse is what someone came up with. But it's been around. It just needs to be clarified now, and because the commercial companies, the large corporates are getting involved, it's now becoming mainstream. But it's been around.
And it's going to be the natural next step to the internet, but I do believe it will be substantially bigger than the internet. So
it will. It's going to be powered by Web 3.0, and so previous iterations of the internet has been Web 1.0. This is back in the 90s when I developed websites, and all you could do was look at it. That's it. There you go.
Static.
Static. That's it. And that's Web 1.0, but still centrally controlled. You needed to have some kind of authority in various countries controlling it, to make sure that it's actually safe for use. Then there was Web 2.0, where you could, and we're still kind of at the tail end of Web 2.0. We haven't really got mainstream into Web 3.0, but a lot of venture capitalists are funding initiatives and startups to get us to move into Web 3.0. So Web 2.0, pretty much what we have now, driven by cloud, the ability to scale, but still some area of centralization, largely. With Web 3.0, we're entering the decentralization model, where there isn't a central authority that controls this. So with the metaverse, I can create my own world, and I invite you to interact with that world. I don't want to go into your world. You come to me. And that's how I see the metaverse, is the ability to create your own space, which you allow others into to interact with you.
Oh, that's very exciting.
Yeah.
Right, next question. What do you think the first experience on the metaverse will mature first? I think it will probably be esports, but what do you think?
I'm thinking it might be our banking experiences.
Okay.
Why I say that is that there are a lot of POCs happening at the moment, proof of concepts or proof of value, whatever you want to call it, POVs. One specifically in Seoul, Korea, where you don't need to go into the bank. You enter the bank's virtual world, and you can basically walk around there and do everything you could do virtually, like as you walked into a physical branch. And that's taking off a lot. It also dependent on the target market. I mean, we have Generation Zs now, Gen Zs, that are dictating how they want to work. We have millennials that are just another breed of person completely. They dictate how they would like to work. Similarly, I believe that the populace will determine how quickly the metaverse is adopted. I think another pandemic will accelerate that, because the need to not be physically present, interacting, lockdown, for example, will drive something like that. Already in China now, because of the extended lockdown, they've developed some kind of mechanism to have people interacting virtually. So there'll be some factors and large-scale events that may drive the adoption of some kind of metaverse. But I think banking, and then I think retail, secondly. There are a lot of websites that claim to be 3.0, but it's not. It's just kind of a skin over it, where they have an API, an application interface, where they have some kind of augmented reality running on top of that, and you can spin around a shoe and say, okay, I don't like the shoe, choose something else. But they're going to go a bit further now, where you actually immerse yourself in that by actually wearing the shoe, and your avatar will actually interact and be able to choose clothing that you want and try it on and see how it looks on you. So retails.
No excuse for men not to go shopping with their wives.
No. I mean, shopping with your wife can be quite hazardous to your health. Especially if she asks, does this make me look fat? And you go, no, not at all.
No bandwidth, sorry, disconnect.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see. Or maybe there'll be a bunch that mature all at the same time.
Yeah, please edit that out. You don't mind?
I don't know if she follows me, so we'll find out. What type of business do you think will first make lots of money on the internet? Now, that's a very different question, I think.
Yeah. There is one rather large mobile telecommunications company in this country that has actually entered the metaverse. It's the only large corporate I'm aware of currently in South Africa that has actually purchased real estate in the metaverse.
That's MTN.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's interesting, and I'm trying to get a meeting with the marketing director to be able to discuss the reasons why and the experiences noted so far.
Good luck. I've been trying to meet them for a very long time. Smash it, get in there.
I'm trying to. They're one of our customers, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. But we will see, how, based on availability, etc. But it's very interesting, because I think those who get in first can actually set their own stage. Like there was old adage, build it and they will come. Holds true in this regard. So normally, like it didn't, because that old adage that goes, build it and they will come, turned into build it and we don't care. Right? Now, it's old and true, because if you're the first in, you can determine how you want to structure it, etc., and probably shape some rules around how you interact. So surprisingly, I would say telecoms might be a business that you could, that may benefit from the initial launch of the metaverse. People are going to try it out. It's new. The early adopters, they want to be seen as we innovate. I'm an innovator. It's the guys that purchase the latest iPhone all the time because they want to be in the know, and they might not know too much about the phone, but they have it, and their friends think that, hey, that's cool. You know what you're doing, and so something like that. It kind of appeals to the ego of the person. So we want to jump into the metaverse, and we're going to look at MTN now, and wow, fantastic. We love it. No, I bought the HoloLens. I'm in the metaverse, man. Where are you living? That type of thing. So that the pool would be on an ego basis. Like I want to be in the know, like now, and then that appeal will get other people in. So depending on how many other people that one individual influences, I think you could. That's a good play. It's a very good play from an MTN perspective.
So telecommunications is obviously a massive business. I am a champion of small to medium-sized enterprises, and it doesn't actually cost that much to get yourself a plot in the metaverse, and there's a whole bunch of websites that you can go buy certain plots. And the nice thing about the metaverse, and this is just my opinion, is that, and especially with Web 3.0 or parts of it, is that it's now not so much about just consuming, it's about contributing.
Yep.
And I believe the metaverse, it requires contributions from small businesses. And this is why all these entities which are coming into the market are actually opening their canvas and saying, hey, come paint on it, because they're not quite sure what's going to be on the metaverse. So it cuts down risk and says, hey, bring in your contribution and we'll work together. So collaboration is also very, very important.
It's absolutely crucial because, in my opinion, a blockchain or the blockchain will underpin the metaverse from a trust perspective, because you need to create this trust engine that will power the larger machine to come. So it's quite important that you have the collaboration. I mean, across the various industries, across small and medium-sized businesses, large corporates. It's the ability to deliver something of value that will benefit everyone, and I think that's important. The only way to actually learn about it is to get stuck in.
And you can do that yourself. Our people would love nothing more to see blockchain, cloud tech, metaverse, this future opportunity. I would like us to inject that into the sectors in South Africa and Africa, like informal settlements, and do a really good workshop and say, guys, how can we get you to benefit from this? How can you engage? I really do think, even with a reasonable cell phone, you can start to play around and research. So yeah, we can talk about this all day.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a good one. What do you think, or who do you think will enforce the rules and regulations of the metaverse? Will there be an e-police?
I think there'll be some kind of body. We don't know what it looks like, but it may be large corporates with a social responsibility initiative to say, we want consumers of the metaverse to be firstly safe, because we don't want anyone to feel like if they're entering a space like the metaverse and they're not safe, they'll never come back. So we don't want that. But I believe there'll be a lot of AI involved, so some kind of AI algorithm that will scan the activities of various people or stakeholders within the metaverse, and then block certain people if they display unsavory behavior within the metaverse. So, like the decentralized autonomous organization, the DAO, something like that, to be able to say, these are a set of rules. Okay, if you contravene the rules, these are the sanctions that will be imposed against you. Might be a month ban from entering or however long, but depends on the severity of the actual infringement, whether what sanction will be relevant. But I think that there'll be a body per se, or a governing body that will look after it and say, this is the way we do it. I think it's going to be AI largely. Then you might have a discussion around ethics and whose ethics are you going to be leveraging when programming the AI? And those are the discussions that need to be had with as many people as possible. Open it up to large corporates, SMEs, SMBs as well, and have their say. I don't think governments will be able to control that, because they don't have the savvy and the know-how.
Nor is it really their function, or
exactly.
It shouldn't be their function.
Exactly. So I believe there will be some rules, but there will be like a decentralized autonomous organization, DAO, with AI heavily embedded in it to actually then constantly scan the activities and be able to flag and then take sanction against someone that violates those rules that were initially programmed and decided upon.
I hope it's a discussion that happens sooner than later, even with our primitive internet of today, e-behavior, abuse, with children, with colleagues. It hasn't matured. We do not know how to behave online yet, and we're going to be given this huge power or access to the metaverse, and who knows what risks are going to happen, let alone digital crimes. I mean,
oh dear, yes.
So that's a whole nother thing.
I know for a fact that Microsoft's primary activity when entering the metaverse would be a security play. How do we secure the metaverse, or some worlds that Microsoft is involved in to ensure that from a cyber security perspective, it's sound. We don't want hackers, for example, to impersonate, hack your digital avatar and emulate yourself, or kind of say that this is actually Fabian, but it's not. I mean, so identity theft.
That's very probable.
How do we actually negate that? How do we secure that from happening? Or prevent that from happening? What type of security? Most people that I chat to believe that when they embrace Microsoft as a security partner, they should relinquish the accountability for security to Microsoft. You never ever relinquish accountability to anyone, any organization. Security is still your responsibility and accountability.
Your data, your online presence is still yours.
It's still yours.
Like your car in your garage.
Correct. Or even like securing your house. You can't rely on the security companies to say, no, I'm paying them on a monthly basis. They must secure my house. You must do as much as you can to secure your house. And yes, having a security company is one aspect to ensure that you're secure and your family secure. Similarly, you don't leave your ID book lying around in a restaurant. Someone can grab that, and then before long you racked up a bill of 10,000 Rand because someone got hold of your identity. No, so you got to secure that. Safe, whatever it may be. So have some kind of cyber security safe as well, that you can ensure that your credentials, your online identity remains in your control and not in someone else's control. We've got separate identities at home as well. Like my wife and I, we don't share an account for anything. She's got her own, I've got my own, and we basically have a family account on Apple, but that's it. That's as far as it goes. So no sharing of, I can't log into hers and she can log into mine.
I'm so glad you're bringing up family, because it's not just about business. The metaverse is going to play a huge part for family as well. And also that you're talking about responsibility on the internet. About a month ago, I did an online talk to a very large insurance company, and we were discussing the metaverse and property on the metaverse.
Yeah.
And one of the ideas, I said, well, you guys need to develop a product for insuring things in the metaverse.
Yeah.
So hopefully they're going to do something like that. So
because that's where that's where it's going. And surprisingly, in this week I saw an ad. I think it was the same insurance company,
okay,
where they actually asked about, can you insure this? Can you insure that?
It worked quickly.
Can you insure that? And then they actually got to a point sometime in the future where it was like one of these hover bikes. You could see it was futuristic. And they said, can you insure this? And they said, yeah, sure, we can. So, we need to start thinking about that. We need to start thinking about the laws that may change.
Oh, the laws are going to change.
I've actually read up, JP, that a couple got married in the metaverse. Now, is that legal or not? We don't know. There's a gray area. Why would you do that? I don't know, but they did. Maybe they were like oceans apart, and I don't know. But is that even legal? I know under South African law, it's probably not, because you have to sign the marriage register under a covering.
Yes. For
it to be lawful. So you can go get married on the beach. That's okay, but you're not married yet legally. You've got to sign the thing under a roof. So
not that our laws are backwards. I think South Africa was one of the first countries to allow an AI to patent or trademark a plan. I'll add that to that post, but we've got some interesting laws.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's legal or not, but yeah.
We'll get divorced in the metaverse.
Something has to be, but things have to be changed. The laws have to be changed if we're going to adopt that. Yeah, so that's interesting.
Which leads me nicely onto my final question, it's probably the most important. I wanted your advice specifically on how you think somebody who's watching this today, be it a teenager at school, or a 60-year-old person sitting at home, or somebody in Zambia, because I've got lots of people watching from Zambia, and all other countries, but how can they start to get involved right now with the metaverse, either with their family or with their home business, or perhaps they've got a desk job,
Yeah.
Any one of those points. Any ideas?
For me, I mean, I would say just get started. Go and do the research. Ingratiate yourself within the actual research and think about the art of the possible. What can the metaverse do for you, and what would that impact be for others? So thinking about when I do anything now these days, it's for my kids. What world am I leaving them? Because I mean, our time is nearly up pretty much, and it's for the next generation that we're building. So what are we doing for them? How can we benefit from that? Would I let my 9-year-old daughter in the metaverse now? Probably not. They're playing these Roblox on Xbox online, and I'm there. I'm sitting in the room while they're playing, because you don't know who the other people are that they're talking to. That could be some pedophile, whatever it may be. We don't know.
That's a genuine concern.
So I'm there. I'm in the room and they're playing Roblox. They're asking for help. I help them. So again, that responsibility for safety, it's not outsourced to anyone else. As a parent, you take that ownership and you hold on to it until they're 21 and beyond, possibly. But go and do the research. Everyone was saying yes, but the metaverse is a bad thing, and there's always good and bad to anything that you try. The internet was very bad at one point in time because of the pornography aspect, but it was also very good because it brought a lot of people together and the ability to rally support, etc. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, but you have to do your own research to make up your mind. But get involved. There are lots of resources. I'm sure, JP, you could post a few on blogs more, where you can just get the understanding of what this is and how this will impact your life and your potential kids' life in years to come. But start reading. I mean, I've got a rule. I spend at least 20 minutes reading something new every day.
I like that.
And it's always something that I don't quite understand, but I'm working towards understanding it so that I can explain it to my wife, my kids, my friends, colleagues. And that's the important piece. That's what drives me, is I'd like to understand something so that I can then go and explain that to someone else to that level. If you have to take longer than 5 minutes to explain a concept, then you're talking nonsense, pretty much.
So on that note, you're just really, really inspiring. I'm going to give a challenge to you all now to go and do some research, just think of something, and then let us know what you've learned in the comments section. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Josh.
You're an absolute future tech.
Thank you very much.